Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Thursday, the 12th of August. I've been back from holidays now for almost a week, back in the swing of things, and glad to be back. A month off was a long time. I had a great time and visited beautiful places and had lots of time to read and watch some TV and just sort of veg out on the deck with the dog. But one of the things that I think that I missed, and part of the problem was, is that I got out of the habit of my more formal daily office. Now, don't get me wrong. I prayed every day, and I continued to commune with God and to hold up the people who have asked me for prayer. But I wasn't as diligent as I could have been about sitting down and doing the daily office. I think part of it was because I wasn't doing church at home as well. It's sort of all part of the package for me every morning. And so I sort of found by the end of my holidays, I was in a bit of a funk. I was getting kind of depressed and I didn't know what was wrong. And, where is God? How come I can't hear God's voice? And realizing that maybe part of the problem I can't hear God's voice is because I haven't been listening. And I got thinking about that a lot as the wind has picked up this week. It's pretty windy outside and we have that little pergola or a gazebo top on our deck. And the wind keeps ripping and ripping. Wind keeps moving the canvas, and it's strong. It's holding up. It's not ripping, but you can really hear the wind blowing through the canvas, where maybe normally you wouldn't notice the wind so much. And it got me thinking about the presence of the wind in the world. There's always a breeze of some sort. Not very often do we have a completely still day where there's absolutely no breath of wind. But we don't always notice it. And I got thinking about that and my prayer time and my, not lack of prayer time, but my sort of undisciplined prayer time when I was on holidays. And thinking, you know what, this is sort of a reminder to me that I need to be disciplined at it even when I'm on holidays. Because the wind is always present, just like the Holy Spirit is always present. But if we aren't moving, if we're not participating with the Holy Spirit, it can be really easy to start believing that it just isn't there. It reminded me of my grandparents' farm when I was little. The back of the house out toward the barn, and where there was an outhouse that we used to be terrified and completely curious about this old outhouse that was there. But there used to be a really big tree, and my grandfather had created a tree swing, with a wooden slat to sit on and the rope that burns your hands if you hold on too tight when it's moving. And we used to go out and we used to sit in the swing. And so when we were little, we used to get our older cousins to come out and push us. And then it became kind of terrifying because they would see how far they could push us. And getting up over the old back kitchen roof, you was like, no, not so high. But then when you got older and you realized, you could put your feet on the ground and give yourself a push and then pump your legs and really get moving, there was something really energizing about it. And you wanted to have that thrill of being able to get your feet up over the edge of the back kitchen, the roof, to feel like you're flying, to feel the danger and the amazing feeling of the wind in your hair and on your face as you're whipping back and forth. And then realizing that you can stop pumping your legs and your momentum keeps you going for a while, but not always. And I think that's sort of what happened with me for my prayer, that my momentum of doing church at home and saying my daily office every day for months and months and months, when I went into holidays and stopped doing that formal kind of thing, the momentum carried me for a while, and then it started to slow down, and I realized I needed to pump my legs. The wind was still there. The Holy Spirit was still moving in my life, but I couldn't feel it because I wasn't moving. And I think that's something about the fact that something that we need to pay attention to about our prayer lives is that God is always present. Just like the wind, the breeze is always there, even if we can't see it. Even if we can't see it or hear it, it's still there. But we notice it more when we do something. When we're walking, we can feel it. Or if you go lick your finger and test the air, you can feel it moving. It's never stagnant. It's never static. It's always in motion. The Holy Spirit, God, is always in motion in our lives. But if we are sitting still for too long, if we rest on our laurels for too long, we become unable to feel the Spirit. Not that the Spirit's not moving, but we're unable to feel the Spirit because we are not moving. And I think that's a really important thing to remember, is that we need to get out there and do our part, like getting on that swing. Maybe when we're first starting our prayer life, we need somebody to be that person who pushes us. Every time we come back, give us another push until we get going so fast and so high that our own momentum carries us, and the Holy Spirit then leads us into developing our own legs, our pumping muscles in prayer. But when we're older, when we're more experienced, and when our feet can touch the ground and give us a bit of a push off ourselves, then it's up to us. It's our responsibility to make sure that we keep ourselves moving. There are times when we're moving so fast that our momentum, and even sometimes the push of the Holy Spirit, is so strong that if we stop moving ourselves and just be silent and listen and sit on that swing in prayer, we'll still keep moving for a while. But there will come a time when we need to come back to ourselves and start pumping our legs and praying those prayers and getting back into having that conversation with God, not just listening and being. It's a mix of both. And sometimes it's okay to let the swing just slow down, to let the prayer just ease off and go back and forth until it stops, and just be. Maybe that's something we can think of for our prayer life, is that sense of being on that old tree swing where we do have to do some work unless we have someone who's pushing for us. And then we have that time of momentum when things are going really well and we don't feel like we have to do anything. And then we start to slow down and be. But then we have to start again, enjoying and pushing. And sometimes the gentleness of just going back and forth is enough. But sometimes we need that almost violent sense that something big is happening, something scary, something stomach flipping, as we feel our prayer feet flying over the tops of the roof of the back kitchen, knowing that we're going to swing back up and our head will be there too, and we'll come back and forth, and we know that God is doing a wonderful and crazy and miraculous thing. But then God will also let us slow down to appreciate and take it in, internalize it, and figure out how to use that. Maybe that's one way we can look at prayer, as an old backyard tree swing. Moving gently, moving fast, moving slowly, moving with our own momentum, moving by the power of the wind of the Holy Spirit, moving because we're pumping our legs, moving because someone is giving us a push, slowing down and not moving for a while, but knowing that we do need to move again. So I took some time to slow down over my holidays, and now I'm picking up momentum, and I'm getting back into the swing of things, and it is a good thing. My feet aren't above the back kitchen's roof yet, but they're coming. Have a great day on your tree swing. Enjoy your prayers. Enjoy God's presence. And I will see you tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachael. God bless you, everyone.